Okay, so this chapter was actually a huge hit among the fans for two reasons. Well, really just one reason, but there's kind of like two parts to it. And basically the reason is because of the fact that at the end of the chapter, we end up finding out that both Killer and Hermit, more Hermit than Killer because no one really cares that much about him, but we end up finding out that they both actually have overdrives, which if you saw the redesign for Hermit's Overdrive, you can kind of tell why the fandom fell in love with it. But anyway, getting the reveal that she actually has an overdrive and seeing the design for it is obviously one of the major reasons why fans are going crazy over the chapter. The other reason, however, though, is the reveal through a flashback that basically anything that has ether energy inside of it can potentially unlock an overdrive. And this is a crazy reveal because prior to this chapter, and I'll have to go back and recheck all the chapters that actually mentioned overdrive initially in the series, but prior to this chapter, I believe we were under the understanding, or at least I was under the impression, that in order to have an overdrive, you had to do two things, or you had to be two things. You had to be someone who has an ether gear, and you had to be a living creature. You didn't have to be human. You could be an alien, but you had to be a living creature. And basically, this reveal is making the fandom go crazy with theories. In fact, one of the craziest theories I saw out there, which actually now is possibly true, because what we end up finding out in this chapter, is the idea that maybe Mother is actually an overdrive version of the Earth itself. And I'm not going to go too much into that theory, at least not in this video, because I want to make sure I give proper credit to the person on the Eden Zero subreddit who originally came up with the theory, or at least the original person who came up with it that I saw anyway. And basically, I want to make sure I have all the proper credit to give to them and all the proper details that they mentioned in their theory. But one of the things I did see them mention is the fact that everything that has led the Eden Zero crew to Mother so far, or like her trail, has been kind of like commonplace trash that you would find on Earth, you know, like a bottle cap and stuff like that. And also Mother being the same color scheme as the Earth itself actually kind of led this theory to be informed. But anyway, finally getting into this week's chapter, the chapter actually opens up where the last one left off, with Lobelia finding Killer and Clown in the Eden Zero hangar, and immediately the two of them actually go in to threaten to kill her. Killer wants to basically just do it and get it over with, while Clown wants to draw it out. But before they can, Moscow and Couchpo actually show up and actually save Lobelia from the two of them, and we get this moment where we actually have Moscow facing off against the two Dark Stars by himself. And this is when, again, we get the tease of Moscow going to press that button on his belly button and basically being stopped right before he can press it. And honestly, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of Hero basically teasing us with that, that reveal. And I kind of at this point just want to see what actually ends up happening when he presses that button. Initially, I thought it might be like a self-destruct button. That's the reason why he's not allowed to press it, because he'll end up dying if he does. But because of the fact he was actually willing to activate it on the Eden Zero hangar, I kind of feel like he wouldn't risk that on board the ship. So I'm leaning more towards the idea that it might be just like a simple power up for him. But I'm thinking that the reason why he can't press it is either because obviously, you know, Sister is a Dom and he's her sub, or because of the fact that if he does press it and gets that power up, it has some kind of like dangerous side effect, like maybe he loses control of himself, or maybe it might end up costing him his life, something like that. Anyway, regardless of what it is, I just hope that at some point Hero in the near future actually reveals exactly what that button actually does. But yeah, this whole beginning scene is pretty much just here to set up the fight between Killer and Clown versus Sister and Hermit. Then we cut to outer space and we get to see the fight going down between Holly and Elsie's crews going up against the dragons that Agnolia sent after them. And we end up finding out that honestly Victory's out there because Justice was already there on the planet, so we knew we had to be close behind. But we see that Eraser and Fed are also there, along with Cure, who we had no idea was actually going to end up showing up. We knew that Feder and Eraser were on their way, but Cure being involved in this is actually a huge reveal that we did not see coming. Then we cut over to Justice and Elsie, and we got this kind of like funny scene in the beginning of their little moment where we see that Elsie is teasing Justice for the fact that he kind of left her half naked while tied up, which immediately makes him blush and embarrassed. But the fun times actually quickly end when they realize that Agnolia is actually closing in on them. So Justice actually leaves to actually kind of seemingly scout ahead or try to figure out exactly what her plan is or where she's going, or if she has any idea where they are. And that's pretty much all we get to see from them. So yeah, this scene is pretty much just here to set up the idea that we're going to have a fight between Agnolia and Justice, with possibly Elsie helping him out if Agnolia ends up being too much for him. Which, now that we know that androids can actually activate overdrives, and the possibility that Agnolia might have one as well, he might end up being too powerful for him to take on alone, which I know he's going to initially want to do, but he might have to rely on Elsie to help him out, which means we might end up getting a reveal to what their overdrives actually look like. And we check in with Shiki, and he's still stuck in Killer's dimension, and I think he's going to be trapped there until Killer gets defeated. So because of the fact that we know that Shiki has to get out of there in order to fight Ziggy, I think this actually is confirming, or basically, yeah, I think it's confirming that Killer is going to get defeated by Hermit in their fight. But anyway, while he's running through the dimension, he actually ends up coming into contact with Pino and Happy, and Pino actually tells him the location of where her and Happy are, and where Wise and Rebecca are being held. So because of the fact that Pino and Happy are closer to them, Shiki decides to go after them first. But while he's actually running towards them, he ends up downloading the race memories that Killer had with his past life. And this is actually when we get to reveal that Killer and Hermit were actually kind of like close friends and schoolmates before they were turned into androids back when they were humans. And it's in this memory that we end up getting to reveal that pretty much anything that has ether energy inside of it, whether it be an android or the Earth itself, can potentially unlock an overdrive. And then obviously we cut back over to the fight between Hermit and Killer and Sister and Clown, and we get to reveal that both Killer and Hermit both have an overdrive, which it leads me to believe that because of the fact that Killer is so shocked by Hermit having overdrive, and the fact that she was so easily able to outplay him before they activated their overdrives, that Hermit definitely has the advantage in their fight. Now, when it comes to Clown versus Sister, we still have no idea exactly how that's going to go. But I'm thinking because of the fact that Hermit has overdrive, then she might have potentially unlocked it for her sister as well. And if she didn't, she definitely gave Sister pointers on how to either do it or get stronger. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the chapter. That's it for the review. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And comment down below your thoughts and theories on the chapter and what's going to be coming up next in chapter 195. I think there's no break next week, so we should be getting a chapter next week. If there is a break, I'll come back and post it in my community tab so you guys can know about it as well. But that's it for the video, guys. I'll catch you all in the next review, and that's it.